Hello, my lovely friends. It's Emma here from Just a Girl Who Loves Elvis. I'm really glad you're here with me. Today's episode feels like one of those days where you don't need noise, you don't need spectacle, you just need warmth. The tree lights are low, the world outside feels a little quieter, and for a little while we're going to sit together and talk about Elvis Presley at Christmas, when he reached out to the world. Not loudly, not for attention, but gently, in the way that mattered most. If episode 21 was about Elvis reaching out through letters, then this episode is about him reaching out through presents. Through music, through generosity, through instinctive kindness. And I think these two episodes belong side by side. Because Elvis Presley didn't just write warmth, he lived it. I always come back to this thought. Elvis understood loneliness. Not because he was alone. He was rarely alone, but because he knew what it felt like to be unseen. Christmas can make loneliness louder, and Elvis seemed to sense that. That's why I think every December, something in him opened outward. People often talk about Elvis's generosity like it was spontaneous, and sometimes it was. But at Christmas it felt intentional. He noticed people more. He asked questions. He remembered names. Almost as if Christmas sharpened his awareness of others. At Christmas, Graceland didn't feel closed. It felt alive. There were people coming and going. Friends, staff, family, musicians. And Elvis moved through it all, checking in, quietly. Making sure that everyone felt included. That's reaching out. Not a grand gesture, just presence. One of the images that always stays with me is fans standing outside Graceland at Christmas. Cold hands, wrapped coats, hopeful faces. Elvis knew they were there, and sometimes, instead of retreating inside, he reached outward, sending food, scarves, small acts of kindness. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to. So much of Elvis's giving was quiet. Hospital bills paid without names attached. Families helped without explanation. Churches supported without publicity. That matters to me. Because it tells you this wasn't about image. It was about instinct. When Elvis sang at Christmas, it didn't feel performative. It felt offered. Like he was saying, here, take this. If it helps you, it's yours. And I think that's one of the reasons why his Christmas music still feels like company. I often imagine Elvis thinking about who might be listening. A soldier far from home. A mother wrapping gifts late at night. Someone sitting alone wishing the season felt easier. And Elvis choosing gentleness because of them. Music became his bridge to the world. He couldn't knock on every door. But he could reach millions through a song. And at Christmas that mattered more than ever. I also love the idea that Elvis, as generous as he was, probably didn't even realise how far his kindness travelled. I imagine him saying something like, well, it's just Christmas, as if that explained everything. And maybe it does. I don't think Elvis saw Christmas as an obligation, but I do think he felt responsibility to give something back. Not perfectly, not endlessly, just sincerely. It's important to say this gently, reaching out to energy. And sometimes Elvis had very little to spare. But even then, he tried. That matters. Elvis wasn't trying to save the world. He was trying to ease it, even briefly. That's a very human kind of generosity. His faith shaped the way he reached out. Not through preaching, through compassion, through seeing people, through generosity that didn't ask questions first. What moves me most is that Elvis didn't reach out because Christmas told him to. He reached out because that's who he was when Christmas arrived. The season simply gave him permission. The world felt Elvis's kindness even when it didn't see it. That's why his Christmas present still lingers. Not because of spectacle, because of sincerity. This episode matters to me because Christmas can be heavy. And Elvis reminds us that sometimes all it takes is one small reaching out to make it lighter. A song, a gesture, a moment of care. If you let it, that idea can change how we move through the season. Not perfectly, just gently. So today as we sit together, I hope this episode felt like a warm blanket. Elvis reached out to the world at Christmas, not with speeches, but with kindness, presence and hearts. And I think that's why he still reaches us now. Thank you for spending time with me. If these episodes bring you comfort, a like, a share or a gentle subscribe helps my little channel grow. Never expected, always appreciated. Next time, we'll stay close to Graceland, listening to how Christmas sounded there as the years went on. I'll see you then. So until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and Merry Elvis Christmas, my lovely friends.